You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield. Because Baker Mayfield did something that no quarterback has ever done, opposing team quarterback in the history of Lambeau Field yesterday. And in case you have not been noticing, and don't worry, we'll dig into it, but Baker Mayfield has been balling out this year. Last 3 games, 727 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. 3 wins in a row. Buccaneers are leading that division. Understand it's a down division, but they're at 7-7. And in fairness, if this team had a good defense, they'd probably have 10 or 11 wins right now. And one thing is very, very clear. Baker Mayfield is back to being a starting quarterback, no doubt, in the NFL. And he will earn himself probably a $15, $18, $20, $25 million contract from somebody next year. My gut instinct tells me it will be with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even if they do draft a quarterback, look, this team's going to end up drafting like 20th or 22nd or something like that, because they're probably going to be the team that wins the NFC South and goes to the playoffs. But Baker Mayfield is sitting back right now, and I just sit back and I go, wow, can you imagine Baker on a team like Cleveland? I hate to say that, but let's be real here. If he was playing on a team like Cleveland right now with that defense and those weapons, and Tampa Bay's got weapons, I can't say they don't, but the point is, and I'm just going to be honest here, Cleveland screwed up royally. It's pretty obvious Baker was hurt his last year in Cleveland, but what Baker Mayfield is doing now, what he is doing now is unreal, and what he did yesterday to, granted, a terrible Packers defense, but nonetheless, he went into Lambeau Field and destroyed the Packers defense on a whole new level. And the one thing we haven't talked about a lot, do we understand that Baker Mayfield came in after Tom Brady and he hasn't blinked? The aura and Super Bowl leftover stench of having the greatest quarterback ever, the pressure of that, Baker Mayfield doesn't give a rat's ass about it. He's come right in there and just played right through it and played his ass off. And he is now racking up. I saw earlier Baker is on pace for like 4,100 yards and 30 touchdowns. The year after Tom Brady retired. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal. And the kid's obviously got a ton of moxie, a ton of I don't give a rat's. And as Baker matures, he's 28 now, I think, Baker could just get better, folks. NFL games have been played in Lambeau Field, this is PFT, since 1957, when the Packers' home was known as City Stadium. And never in all those years had an opposing starting quarterback recorded a perfect passer rating at Green Bay until today. Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield had a 158.3 passer rating, the maximum under the complex passer rating formula in today's win over the Packers. I still like that QB rating system better than I like QBR. That makes him the very first opposing starting quarterback to ever do it. And you know what's pretty wild? It's only been done one other time. Aaron Rodgers only did it once. I was floored by that. Between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, It had only been done one time, and Aaron did it one time. Prior to Mayfield today, Aaron Rodgers was the only quarterback to ever play a complete game at Lambeau and finish at 158.3. Rodgers did it in a 42-24 win over the Raiders in 2019. Today's game kept the Buccaneers atop the NFC South. If Mayfield can keep playing the way he played today, the Bucs are going to be a tough team to beat. They are, provided that Todd Bowles did come out and make some comments about Baker, and I'll read them to you here, but they've got to get this defense tightened up still. If they got better defensive play, like I said, if he was on a team that played good defense and had the same kind of weapons, a Mike Evans, a Chris Godwin, this team still doesn't. I understand White had a better rushing game yesterday, and they actually showed up and ran the ball better. But if it was a team with a better offensive line that could actually run the ball, this team you'd be talking about a potential Super Bowl team here. And I would caution Tampa Bay from breaking up the band here. Outside of the idea of, I'm not too awful sure I wouldn't get rid of Todd Bowles. And but again, his defense isn't as strong as I'd like for it to be with him being, and I'm going to tell you this, if Todd Bowles gets let go, he's going to be hired immediately as a defensive coordinator. When he is just a defensive coordinator, he's a top 5 defensive coordinator in football. But he's kind of one of those guys that when he gets the head job, it's a lot of 7-7, you know? So yesterday after Mayfield, this is a Joe Bucs fan, had one of the best throwing days of his career. Bowles, like a proud father, talked about what Mayfield has meant to the Bucs. Quote, he's meant everything from a mental standpoint to a quarterback standpoint, making plays from a toughness standpoint, from a leadership standpoint. He's done everything. Well, wait a minute. I thought we were told that Baker Mayfield was not a good leader and he was not a good locker room president. That's what the Browns ownership and organization told us. He's checked all the boxes. He's doing all the right things now, and I can't say enough about him. I mean, that's Baker Mayfield's contributions are real, folks. 63.5%, 3,300 yards, 24 TDs, 8 picks, and in case you're wondering, Baker's tied for 6th in the NFL in touchdown passes right now. And I think what makes this even more remarkable, this is Spot Track. Baker Mayfield is making $4 million this year. $4 million. In a world where I think Daniel Jones makes over 30, right? It's unbelievable. By the way, Joe Flacco, it's still a great story in kicking ass in Cleveland. But nonetheless, Baker Mayfield's a franchise quarterback. I mean, there's no other way from him to have been done the way he was done in Cleveland, has to go to the Panthers. How much difference does coaching make, folks? Look at how bad Baker was in Carolina. Goes to the Rams, Sean McVay. Offensive mind, offensive guru. The Rams won again, a team that was scheduled to – people were talking about the Rams winning 1, 2, 3 games. They're 7-7 and thick in the playoff hunt. Coaching matters. You get, I think, Dave Canales, what he's doing with the Bucs, what he's doing with Baker. Weapons matter. This is a perfect example. Godwin, Evans. You got to have people to throw to. And Baker's excelling. Baker is playing himself into a $20 million contract next year from somebody. And if Tampa Bay, and I think Mike Evans is scheduled to be a free agent, if they keep this team together, I think you bring him back, you run it back, try to tighten up the defense, and see what you can do next year. And I'm saying that as they're a team that is in the playoffs as of this moment. I mean, Baker's got a real shot to throw 30 touchdowns. It's pretty remarkable the disrespect this kid got from the NFL, from the Browns. It's crazy. I know he is a fan favorite. I can tell you that. One of my favorite players in the league. He's just a tough sumbitch as a quarterback, kind of a throwback, and not nearly as big. Doesn't have nearly the arm, cannon, just an absolute sniper rifle that Brett Favre had, but he plays with that Brett moxie and toughness, and I love that. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.